He can be the lap we cry into when there's nothing left to do but surrender. Alternatively, the tension between Aries fire and lunar need may result in bristling, a cranky, irritable edge born of fatigue and unmet desire. Globally and personally, this is the mood of exhaustion turning to rebellion, of needing rest but not getting it, of being stretched and resisting still. Next, we're going to be looking at Neptune right there with Saturn. Neptune is also in Aries in the early degrees, and Neptune here brings the dream-like into the burning clarity of Aries, a strange fog over a battlefield. The moon meeting Neptune while depleted might lead to confusion, collapse, or the softening edges that had become too sharp. This is a moment for trust in the unseen, for surrender into spiritual practices, for allowing ourselves to rest without explanation. Neptune invites not action, but feeling, especially when nothing else makes sense. Next, let's go ahead and turn our eye to Uranus in Gemini. We can see here at the top of the chart. Uranus in Gemini strikes the lightning in a thunderstorm of thought. Ideas arrive quickly, flashes of understanding that disrupt the norm. The moon, nearing her balsamic phase, will pass through this zone of electricity and speech and insights, collecting them in the form of whispers and tangents. This contact may shake up our thinking, expose contradictions, or rewire emotional patterns through unexpected words or encounters. It is not a stable condition, but it can be enlightening. Next, let's take a look at Venus, also in Gemini. She's progressed a little bit further on. Venus in Gemini is airborne sensuality, found not in flesh, but in sound, scent, and idea. When the moon meets her here, she is asked to remember softness, not in body, but in breath. This is the time to bathe in fragrance, to listen to poetry, to feel the pleasure of language, laughter, and lightness. Burn some incense. It is a restoration of the heart through ephemeral means, a pause in the heaviness, a reminder that beauty lives in the fleeting too. Next, let's take a look at Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is at 7 degrees 3 minutes into Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and as the moon returns home near her darkest point, she finds him waiting, an overflowing well of emotional abundance. This is the final conjunction before the new moon, and it holds the promise of deep nourishment. The moon, weary from her journey through Saturn and Pluto, now receives comfort, support, and blessings, not from hardness, but from fullness. Here we are invited to rest not in armor, but in compassion, to feel the kind of emotional safety that draws and allows for true vulnerability. It's a moment to plant seeds of intention. Jupiter offers the momentum for the next 12-year cycle of growth and expansion. Even if we have nothing to give, we are asked to receive, to be held in gratitude, in ancestral connection, in spiritual tradition. If only for 5 minutes, this is the time to remember the goodness that still surrounds us. This is the planting ground for the life we dream to live. Now, I want to take a look here also. We've been talking about it, but I want to mention here the moon is below the nodal plane. Let me bring back the chart here and see if we can look at that. I want to just kind of show the nodal plane is here. It stretches between the south node and the north node. And we can see that the moon is below that plane in the chart. And what this means here is that the moon has passed the south node and now floats below the nodal axis. Position where, when the moon is in this condition, is one of deep receptivity. This is a meditative space, a womb of sorts where digestion occurs, not of food, but of experience, thought, and memory. The conjunctions with Mercury and Mars were active. Here their meanings steep. This nodal placement underscores the inward pull of the moon's current journey, a descent that asks for stillness before renewal. The mountain is rumbling and the tide is rising. This is your reckoning, not in the form of punishment, but as an invitation. You are being asked to hold your ground, to feel the pressure building, and to let it tell you something essential about who you are becoming. This full moon in Capricorn isn't here to coddle, it's here to clarify. Already you may be feeling its weight, its insistence. Something in your life wants to crystallize. Something in your heart knows it's time to face the structure you've inherited or built. Decide whether it still fits. Because this isn't moonlight, it's a searchlight. It's a sweeping across the architecture of your world. You may not be standing at the summit just yet, but you're close. You're climbing and you're beginning to see this lunation is bringing into focus. This full moon is a locked vault creaking open, and what's inside might just rewrite your legacy. Maybe you're already sensing the cracks in something old, a belief, a habit, a role you've outgrown, or maybe you're feeling the forming shape of what's next. It doesn't have to be clear, it only has to be honest. And you can't flow your way through this one. This moment asks you to stay with the discomfort, to bring structure to your vision, and vision to your structure.